In this video, we're going to talk through the syllabus and outline what to expect for this course. So as you can see at the top of your syllabus, I have my information, my contact information. So you see my email, office hours by appointment. So just send me an email if you'd like to set one up. I also have the Zoom link that we'll use for office hours, unless you'd like to set up an in-person meeting, which we'll hold in Chafee 714 on campus. You can see that the course is fully asynchronous and online, just like all of the other TESOL courses, TESOL BDL courses in this program. And all of the material for this course you can find in our Brightspace page. So please spend some time getting familiar with our course Brightspace space. The course runs 14 weeks, and each week will begin on a Wednesday and end on a Tuesday. And that's really intentional to give you the weekend to be able to do some of the readings and assignments, as I know that most of you in this course are practicing teachers. And you should expect to spend about 6 to 9 hours per week on course activities in line with what you would expect from a 3-credit course. So kind of plan your week accordingly, figuring out where you want to build that time in. We've talked about the course description already in my welcome video, so I'm not going to belabor that here. But again, this course is designed to teach you methods that are clearly grounded in theory and research, and also give you a chance to try some of what you're learning, to apply what you're learning through a series of different application activities. Here you see the learning outcomes and kind of the main goals about understanding the factors that influence second language acquisition, understanding your own beliefs about second language teaching and learning, and learning how to design responsive instruction for bilingual and multilingual students in a range of contexts. The required text is Pauline Gibbons' book, Scaffolding Language, Scaffolding Learning, 2nd edition. Be sure to purchase that. We will start using it within the first few weeks, but I've intentionally not had you use it right away, so you have a little bit of time to order it and get it for the course. This, again, talks a little bit more about the schedule, beginning on Wednesdays, ending on Tuesdays. You will have a discussion board that will be the main platform for you to share what you're learning, and all initial posts are due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So be sure to get those in on time. I do highly recommend that you type up your posts in a Word document so you have them saved somewhere. And then you can easily copy and paste them into the post. That prevents something happening with your Wi-Fi, or if you accidentally close out of the page and losing your hard work. So I highly recommend you do that. You also then, if you save all of your posts in the same Word document, you can easily keyword search for different words. So you can use the keyword box up here, and you could search for a word like post and find all of the words that say post. Or in your case, you might want to say, you know what, we learned something really interesting about reading, and you could type in the word reading and find all of your posts that mention reading. Okay. So that's a really great way to be able to then use your posts for other assignments. So you could take some information from some of your posts and use them towards a paper for the class. All right, so that's the initial post, and then remember to respond to posts by 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday. The expectation is that you respond to at least 2 classmates, and that you respond in a meaningful way, and we'll talk about that in a minute. This, again, is kind of the schedule at a glance, and here you see how your final grade will be calculated based on the weight of these different assignments. So there are different point values for the assignments, but each one of them is assigned a weight, and that's the percentage that impacts your grade. So here you have course engagement and participation, weekly discussion forum, a quiz, theories and approaches and methods, the 4 application activities, and then your school or district-based problem or advocacy research paper. And we'll talk about these in a moment because they're all listed below in detail. This gives you the grading scale, and I will give you detailed assignment sheets and rubrics for each of these, so you'll have more information beyond what's in the syllabus too. So let's take a minute to look through the course assignments so you have a clear picture of where we're headed and what work you need to do in preparation for these. So first you see course engagement and participation. As I said, because this is an online class, it's really important that you engage fully and participate through reading the readings that are assigned, viewing the videos that I include in some of the weeks and watching the mini lecture videos that I'll provide. So full engagement in these activities is taken into account when I give this part of your grade. This course is online, so I can see how often you're engaging, when you're engaging. All of that information is available and tracked on Brightspace. So please fully engage, not just for your grade, but also for your learning and for your classmates' learning as well. As I mentioned before, the weekly discussion forums are a really important second piece of this. This is a chance for you to engage in conversations with your peers about the topics that we're studying. And you see here the guidelines of making your initial post and responding to at least 2 of your classmates' posts. I'll have a separate video where I'll give you some guidelines for what to think about as you're engaging in the forum. But again, this is your platform for really diving deeply into the content that we're learning that week. And please make sure you get in all of your posts by Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. So that's the cutoff deadline for the discussion forum. All right. There is one quiz in the course. It's not designed, as I mentioned here, to be a gotcha assessment. I'm giving you unlimited opportunities to take it within the week that I'm assigning it. So everybody can get 100% on this quiz. The aims of the quiz are twofold. One is to ensure that you have a really solid understanding of the theories, approaches, and methods for teaching bilingual, multilingual learners. And the second one is it gives you an opportunity to practice some sample praxis questions. So there's a few questions on this quiz that I've taken directly from a praxis test. So it gives you a chance to understand some of the ways that you'll be assessed when you take the praxis. All right, then we move into the application activities, which is the section I'm most excited about, because these are 4 activities that are designed to help you put your learning into practice and also to critically reflect on your own teaching as you consider the factors that shape effective second language instruction and learning for your students. So the first one will be done during the oracy week, so when we learn about oral language development, and this will give you a chance to critically analyze talk in your own classroom. So you're going to record yourself teaching a lesson, and it has to be a component in which you are facilitating conversation or discussion with the whole class. And then you'll select a 2 to 3 minute segment of this discussion that you will transcribe, and then you'll analyze. And here you see what you're looking for in your analysis. So where were there opportunities for meaningful talk? Where were there opportunities for oral language development for your multilingual learners? And would you do anything differently? So you're really thinking about kind of where are you creating spaces for students to engage and to develop their language learning as well. With this, you'll provide a written reflection where you'll cite some of the theories and concepts from the readings as you think about what you learned from doing this analysis of your own classroom talk. The second application activity is when you get to teach a language learning strategy to try out something that we've been reading about. So you'll choose one of the strategies we've learned about from any of the 4 domains, speaking, listening, reading, or writing, and you'll adapt or design a lesson or an activity where you'll be trying this out. You will record, or of that recording, you'll take a 5-minute segment that you'll share with us, and any artifacts from what you've created, like the lesson plan, anchor charts, slides, sentence frames, or any other scaffolds, and a written reflection of that experience. And this gives you some guidelines for what to include in the written reflection. So this will be a great way. We'll be sharing these with one another. So it'll be a great way for all of us to learn a little bit more about what it looks like to put some of these strategies into practice, and for you to try out one of the methods that you're learning in this course. Application number 3 is the lesson plan and materials adaptation. So here you're going to be taking a lesson plan that you already teach, one that you've created or one that's in your curriculum, and you're going to be adapting it to make it more responsive for multilingual learners. This gives you some guidelines for specifically what you'll be doing. And basically you'll be kind of touching on each of the different topics we cover in this course. So writing language objectives for that lesson, some intentional scaffolds to support speaking, listening, reading, and writing, incorporating a strategy for learning new vocabulary, thinking about formative and summative assessment, and how you want to differentiate for students at different levels of second language acquisition. So this is something that you can complete independently or with a partner. If you have another teacher at your school who is in this course, or if you want to work on this with somebody else, that's totally fine. And then you'll be submitting that together. So I think this will be a really good opportunity for you to think very practically about how you can apply some of what you've learned in a lesson that you teach. And finally, the professional development project. So for this project, you're going to be preparing and presenting a professional development session on any topic of your choosing that connects to something you've learned from this course about how to improve educational experiences for multilingual learners. This again can be done independently or with classmates, and you need to ensure that you have some authentic audience. So I don't want you to create a hypothetical PD. I want you to actually deliver it to teachers, administrators, other pre-service teachers, if you're a pre-service teacher, educational support staff, et cetera. And then you'll be, there's no paper component of this, but you'll be creating a video where you reflect on this experience. There's some guiding questions there, and then you'll be submitting the reflection along with the PD materials you created to share with your classmates. All right, so those are the application activities. Then we move into the school district-based problem paper or the advocacy paper if you're not a certification or master's student. So for this paper, this is the course's major paper. It's the critical task for this course for the TESOL BDL program. It's part of your certification if you are a certification student. And in this course, you'll be working on part 2, which builds upon what you did in EDC 501. So in EDC 501, you identified a school or district-based problem, and you outlined a plan for how you were going to research it and possibly address it. Hopefully you've done some work on this since then. If you took EDC 506, you ideally developed a research plan as well that you've ideally begun to do or you've already completed. If not, you can still do it, but it will be a bit more of a condensed experience. So you need to both conduct the research and implement an action plan for this paper, which means it's important to start planning now how you want to address this across the course, as this is something that you can continue to work on throughout the course, but we don't have a dedicated week to working on it, although we do have some check-ins, which I'll outline in a moment. Here you see the components of the paper where you introduce what the problem is, you share the learning that you did, and for this research and learning, you will have reviewed the different readings that you needed to do to learn more about the problem. And for each of those readings, you're writing 1 to 2 paragraph abstracts listing the APA citation and then including an abstract that summarizes what the article or what the chapter was about and how it connects to your problem. And if you're an MA student who also took EDC 506, you also are then presenting the findings from the research you conducted, whether they were surveys, interviews, or some other form of gathering data. Then you talk about the action plan. What was the timeline? You're going to revise it from whatever you planned in EDC 501 if there's any revisions necessary. And then you're giving a narrative account of what you actually did to address the problem, including any artifacts from your implementation. So if you did a PD to address the problem, including some post-PD surveys and the PD slides. If you created a resource, like you formed a parent group, a parent advocacy group, share some resources about that show kind of meeting agendas or emails that were sent out or anything you did for that, PowerPoint slides, etc. And then you have a reflection component where you think about how your resolution relates to the TESOL standards, the short-term and long-term impacts. You think about the future work that still needs to be done, and you do a final reflection on how this has impacted your practice. So I'll have another video where I go into this again in more detail with some examples, but we'll be talking about this early in the course, and I want you to start thinking now about how you want to approach this paper. Again, if you're not an MA or certification student, here's some details about the advocacy research paper. This is more open-ended. You conduct research advocating for multilingual learners with a focus of your choosing, and I have a list of some examples here: standardized assessments, implementing effective language programs, family engagement, etc. And you'll find more specific guidelines for this paper and the school district problem paper, including the rubrics and assignment descriptions on Brightspace. So again, there's no week in the course that is just dedicated to this paper. You are expected to make progress on it throughout the course, but here are the supports that I will provide to kind of help you on your way. So first, in week 1, I'm going to have you share your plan for approaching this paper in the course. And then during weeks 2 to 3, we will schedule one-on-one check-ins so that I can meet with each of you, get to know you a little bit, and also talk with you about your plan. And if needed, give you some suggestions for different ways to approach it. If you would like to submit a draft for feedback, you can do that by week 9. So week 9, you can submit your draft of your paper, and then I'll give you some feedback on it. That's optional. If you're not ready to submit the draft at that point, you don't have to. And then the final paper will be due week 14, and this takes the place of a final. So in lieu of a final, this will be the paper you submit at the end of the course. All right, so that's a lot of information about course assignments. Then we move into some of the syllabus statements, and I'll let you read through those on your own. You can see there's one focused on class time and how to participate fully, anti-bias, land acknowledgement, ways for getting help in the course, and some resources. This talks a little bit about requirements for certification, making sure you have a task stream account. If you don't, feel free to send me an email and I can clarify what that means. This talks about academic honesty, making sure that the work that what you write is your own work. And if you're citing somebody, making sure that you do that. You use quotation marks if you're giving a quote with someone else's words, and you cite where it's from. If you're talking about information that you've learned, you don't need to use quotes, but you should still cite where you learned that information, etc. And I'll include some more information about APA formatting and citation as well. This has some information about disability access and inclusion, and how to let me know if you need any sort of academic accommodations and some additional supports. So all of that information is there for you to review. And then here we get into the course schedule. And here you can see each week's time range, the topic, the detailed topics within that topic, and then the readings and assignments. And as I mentioned, each Brightspace day will have all of these materials that you need linked, but it will also have any lecture videos I've created for that week for you to watch, overview videos. All of that content will be available on Brightspace. And then below you see the assignments that are due for that week. So this talks about the discussion forum, the plan for your school district-based problem paper, and then scheduling your one-on-one check-in. For the major assignments, I have bolded them and italicized them so you can see them very clearly. And you see we're going to kind of begin by going through some foundational theories, and then we move into what it means to plan for language, the different domains, learning to speak in a new language, write new language, read in a new language. You do your strategy demonstration. We talk a little bit about vocabulary, assessing and differentiating. You do your lesson and materials adaptation, Thanksgiving break. And then we have the PD showcase, professional development showcase, and your advocacy week, and then your final paper right here. So you can see that. And then very importantly, at the end, you see the references. All of these are APA formatted. So if you need a reference for your papers, which you will, you can always copy and paste directly from the syllabus. So keep that in mind if you are referencing anything from our readings, which you will have to do for different assignments, that this is here for you so you can easily copy and paste what you need for your references. All right, so that is it. If you have specific questions about the syllabus after you review it in more detail, feel free to reach out and let me know. Otherwise, hope this has helped clarify a little bit about the course, and I'll see you soon.